folks, welcome back to the channel. It's Luna Rhodes back once again with another video. So I had a bit of a busy yesterday evening, so we went to the cinema and we watched two movies back to back. Now I haven't done that in a minute, and given the current climate, it's kind of a risque thing to do, but you know, we had a good time. But there's lots to be said about the movies that we saw. But this video is going to be dedicated to Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We watched that first. So guys, without further ado, let's talk about this film. Directed by Dustin Daniel Cretton with cinematography by Bill Pope, martial arts master Shang Chi confronts the past he thought he left behind when he's drawn into the web of the mysterious Ten Rings organization. So even though we've already had Black Widow, I would say that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is the debut movie for Phase 4 of the MCU. So let's cut to the chase. Is this movie any good? And I wish I could tell you that this movie was an absolute masterpiece from beginning to end with a compelling story, but I've got to be candid. I left the cinema somewhat deflated, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't know what's happening when it comes to movies this year, but now don't get me wrong, there were some elements about this movie which I absolutely adored, which I'll address, but overall, I left the cinema with mixed feelings. I was just deflated. But I want to talk about the elements I loved about this movie and where I felt this movie just fell apart for me. I mean, not maybe that's too harsh a term, too harsh a description, but where I was disappointed. I think that's even worse, but where I was disappointed with this film. So number one, if you're accustomed to my channel, I always go on about a well choreographed, intricately, beautifully executed fight sequence and action scene, and in this movie they delivered and then some. I mean, karate is the most elegant hand-to-hand combat, and as I was watching some of those fight scenes, I'm telling you, I was so animated. I was like I was at a concert. I was like wooing and oh my god, that was boss, it was amazing. I was so vocal. Some of the fight sequences in this movie were just phenomenal, absolute boss, just loved it. There was also a lot of cute moments in this film. I loved the karaoke scenes, and I thought the cast generally did a good job for the script that they were given. And for me, Awkwafina in her role as Katie injected a lot of humour and charisma to the film. And I loved the way she always brought back realism into surreal situations, so I thought she was a diamond cast. Now, the first act of this film was just on point. I loved the exposition of the characters. I thought the pacing was just perfect. There was tension, conflict and jeopardy all condensed in the first act, and the fight scenes and action sequences were just exquisite. However, as the story progresses and we get a better understanding as to the Mandarin's motives in this film, this is where I felt let down. The movie more or less migrated into the dysfunctional family trope and tragic love story. So essentially, this movie is based on the Mandarin's quest to be reunited with his wife, no matter the sacrifice, even his own kids. And this is not what I expected for an origin film for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, just not what I came for. For me, it was almost tantamount to having a brilliantly choreographed dance sequence over a lame track. And so I was just so frustrated. I was like, no, Marvel, you can't do this. You can't do this. You just can't have this movie to be based on a tragic love story and dysfunctional family. It's not what I came for. Give me something more compelling than this. So I'm afraid, as I say, the engine of this movie is indeed the visuals, but the story, it just didn't work for me. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is a decent movie, but it could have been an absolute masterpiece with the right story, with a captivating story to complement the beautiful visuals. So this was my main frustration with the film. The story as it is just didn't work for me. The whole voice behind the wall and the trance and it was just just wasn't it for me. But you know, it's all subjective. I mean, my partner absolutely loved this film, but I wish I could have walked away from the cinema thinking, wow, that was mesmerizing. The visuals, yes, but the story, it just wasn't captivating or compelling, and it didn't allow for me to have that emotional connection with the main character, with Shang-Chi. I left the cinema thinking about Awkwafina more so than Shang-Chi, and that's just, I don't know. And that final battle sequence, when I tell you that it was serving me all sorts of never-ending story type of tease, I was waiting for Atreyu and Falco to burst through the scenes. But honestly, in this movie, that fight sequence just went, well, the battle sequence just went on and on and on, and I think I fell asleep and it was still ongoing when I woke up. It was just going on and on. Honestly, that could have been edited all the way down, but as I say, the karate in this movie was just flawless. I'm quite happy to continue to extol on much of the visuals and choreography of fight scenes in this film. However, as I say, for me, it was all based upon a very weak story for me, and that was the disconnect. But as I say, it's all subjective. Many people loved this film. I just felt it fell short, but you know what? It is just my view. But please comment below, let me know what your thoughts are on this film, whether you enjoyed it, whether you think I'm completely nuts and you absolutely loved this movie. Absolutely. But please, as I say, comment below, and thank you ever so much for watching this very long video, and I shall be back soon. Anyways, take care for now. Bye.